Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to have a little chat about spiraling and wavering. Now, I know that when we're manifesting, spiraling and wavering is nearly something that we are just too afraid to even mention because we think that we're not going to manifest what it is that we want. Now, we all go through this and it's normal to feel like that. However, I thought that I would have a little chat about it so that if we get a better understanding about what is going on when we do spiral and waver, that maybe we will give ourselves a break and allow ourselves to just release the tension and know that everything is okay. So when we spiral and when we waver, it's usually because we are saying our affirmations or visualizations, or maybe there's a period of time gone by that we thought we would have had our manifestation by now, and so we start to lose faith. And in this kind of instance, we look out to our reality for the validation. We don't see what it is that we want, and then we start going into this kind of little bubble of spiraling where we just think that it's useless, or we start having all these negative thoughts that it's not going to happen, and then we kind of find our body matching up to what it is that we're thinking, and then we start to feel these emotions. Or it can be the other way around. We can be triggered in our reality, which we will feel in the body, and the body will direct that to the brain, and that's when the brain will look for the past. When did we feel this in the past? And so it'll be, okay, there was a moment in my life where I experienced this trigger, it was bad, and this is what happened. And so the brain will automatically go to that, and that's when all the negative thoughts from that experience will come up and cause us to continue on with the spirals. So when this happens, the best thing to know is when we are spiraling and wavering, it does not mean that we're not going to manifest what it is that we want. In fact, it's actually got nothing to do with manifestation at all. It's to do with how we are actually being disciplined enough in the moment to become aware of what is actually going on. Now, becoming aware of what is going on in the moment does not mean that we have to find another belief that we need to work on. It does not mean that we have to do self-regulation either. However, if we actually know the beliefs that we need to work on, and we do have a self-regulated nervous system, it's going to be a lot easier to overcome these spirals, and it's going to be a lot easier to not waver on the process of whatever it is that we are manifesting. So when we're manifesting something, we are the ones that are actually creating that. So there's no one or no thing outside of us that can tell us that this is not happening. We do that to ourselves by looking outside to our reality and not seeing it, and then attaching a meaning that is telling us that we're not going to get it, or it's just not going to happen. And that's just down to our own thought. That there's nobody else is telling us that. The outside reality is not even telling us that. Just because you don't see it right now doesn't mean that it's not actually coming to you. But in those moments when we're not feeling good, when we don't have a good self-regulated nervous system, and we don't have our thoughts on thinking optimistic, we're going to find ourselves spiraling and wavering. So in those moments when that happens, it's either release the tension or ask yourself, is there a belief that I need to work on? Is there something that may be actually holding me back a little bit, that I'm actually thinking that I'm not capable of manifesting this? So when we go into that, and I find from my own journey anyway, that journaling out what it is that we're feeling in the moment. So you journal out everything that you're feeling in the moment, and just be really, really vulnerable with yourself, be really honest with yourself. And when you actually have it written out, you look to it and you will be able to find where the limiting belief is. It's extraordinary. Your own mind knows how to actually pull you out of this spiral. So you'll be able to look through that, you'll see where the limiting belief is, and then you'll be saying to yourself, okay, there's the limiting belief. I think I'm not capable. So then you turn it into an affirmation that tells you that you are capable. And or if it's just something to do with manifestation at all, maybe you don't believe in manifestation at all, and you see that and you say, okay, there it is there, so I do believe in manifestation. You start saying that to yourself instead. And this is kind of how you actually overcome any spirals in the future as well too, because once you become aware of it in the moment, and once you become aware of what is going on in the moment, you will know yourself, And as you identify that in the moment, that's the moment that you actually let it go, because you've identified it. However, in order to create the new neurons in our brain, the new neural pathways within our brain to actually say, okay, this is a possibility, we have to do a little bit of repetition, because we need to continue to create this through the neuroplasticity concept and theory in science. We want to talk about changing the neurons in our brain through this way, and it's only done through repetition. So we have to tell ourselves a new affirmation for a little while in order for it to be completely accepted. Unless you're someone that can say an affirmation and accept it straight away, then that's great. However, sometimes it takes a little bit more discipline, a little bit more time to actually continue to accept this in our brain. So the repetition. When we have done this before, we've always used neuroplasticity because our brain is created through that. The neurons and the neural pathways and all the new thoughts and everything in our mind come through this idea of repetition. So anything that happened in the past that was a bad experience, you may not maybe have thought it to happen into your experience. However, you may have little thoughts that were maybe coming up in your mind. Maybe you were thinking you weren't good enough, or maybe you were just not being confident in yourself, and you would have had little negative thoughts that were coming up on a repetitive basis. It doesn't mean that they were the same negative thoughts, but they would have been relating to the same kind of emotion and the same kind of aspect that was going on within your brain. And so then it created that possibility, and that's then what inevitably attracted into your mind. So it's the same when we're going the other way and we're thinking in a more positive way of being. We're being more optimistic. And so when we are being more optimistic, we can create a new identity. We can a new personal identity, as Dr. Joe Dispenza calls it. So when we do that, we got to go the other way, and we got to keep the repetition in the positive way, in the optimistic way. And when we're spiraling or wavering, all of that has nothing to do with the manifestation. It's actually just to do with what we're allowing in the moment to believe. Everything is coming from our perception of what is going on. So there's nothing outside of us that can tell us what is going on. We create the own meanings within our brain. Even when we read something that is a scientific fact, we're still creating it in our own brain, the meaning that we will put to that scientific fact. So everything is coming from our own perception. And when we're actually manifesting something, if we actually look at spiraling and wavering as something that is forbidden, we're going to start, paradoxically, we're going to start putting too much emphasis on it, and then we might even cause ourselves to spiral and waver even more. We don't need to do that, because it's okay to spiral and waver the odd time. Now, obviously, we don't want to be staying in that state of being, because that's not how you live your life. And it's also, if we continue to dominantly think against ourselves, that's what we're going to create because of the neuroplasticity aspect in science. So when we're actually thinking about that, and we're thinking about spiraling, just let yourself to spiral. Give yourself the pass for how long you need to do that as well too. If you have a day where you're spiraling, just give yourself that day. But know that once you get past that, it'll get better, and then you can start thinking optimistic. It's like if you have some sort of, if you go to hospital and you have surgery and you are experiencing some pain afterwards, you don't say to yourself, okay, I'm never going to get better, this is it for me, I'm never going to heal. No, you say to yourself, this pain is normal, I'm going to have pain, but obviously I'm going to think in my favor, and I know that I'm healing. I know that everything is working all right in my body, and that I'm healing from this surgery. Everything is okay. I can, overcome this little pain because I know that it's healing. And it's the same when we're changing our thoughts as well too. Overcoming the spiraling and the wavering, because we know that it's getting better every single day. So I just thought I would do a video on that. If you have any questions, you can comment down below, and I will talk to you soon.